Welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about something we can all relate to, imposter syndrome, and how it can actually be a superpower if you use it to better yourself and your company or your agency.
Definitely. We'll dive into how our healthy skepticism and doubt helps our clients in different ways that we approach kind of our tactics, our marketing tactics. So, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Welcome to Trade Secrets, where we demystify digital marketing to help contractors get the most bang for their marketing bucks.
This is for you if you're a contractor looking for actionable marketing insights.
Learn from home services industry experts to elevate your business through simplified marketing strategies.
Let's dive into today's trade secret. All right. Well, I guess it makes sense before we really kind of hop in and start talking about the specifics of how our imposter syndrome is positively impacting our clients. Maybe we should kind of just get started and talk about what imposter syndrome is and how maybe some of our listeners can probably relate in their day-to-day lives.
Totally. Yeah. Kind of imposter syndrome. I feel like it's kind of a buzzword and maybe it's been flying around for a while now and most people know what it is. But it's basically like, am I really good at what I'm doing? Like, am I faking it till I make it? Like, does everyone else have it figured out and I don't? That's imposter syndrome. Like always second guessing yourself, always, thinking that maybe like your competitor or somebody else has it figured out and it's just you that you just are like scraping by. But the more you see about this on social media, the more it feels like everybody probably has it and to some degree. And I think especially like entrepreneurs, business owners in general, you're always wondering if like the move you make is the right move. Is that are you doing the right thing? Do you have the right strategy? Do you have the right processes in place? Like, do you have the right pricing? I don't all those things, like just constantly wondering like if you're doing it right, is somebody doing it better? Like, I don't know. That's the feeling. And I think I like that somewhere along the way in the past, like, I don't know, a couple of years, somebody labeled it. And those millennials, they're so good at giving these things labels, but it's a feeling we've all had. So yeah, so that's I don't know, that's kind of how it's showed up in business, I think, is like with, sales and pricing and like leadership and hiring. Like, do you feel like you're onboarding with your new hires, like you're winging it? I don't know,
Yeah.
avoiding hard conversations, like, because you don't want to feel like a boss. You still are like transitioning from, hiring your friends to maybe having to be a boss to some people. I don't know, maybe that's part of it.
Absolutely. And it is just, as we run our agency, I know you and I a lot of times are constantly just wanting to make sure that we're stacking up. I'm sure some of the folks that are listening to us are, they take their craft very seriously, but you want to make sure that the next guy isn't, maybe his crews aren't doing it just that much better or whatever it may be. So, and it's a really good cathartic exercise to go through to really start digging in and looking at what other people are up to. And you might just find out that you've got it more figured out than you think you do.
Yeah, that's the truth. And the way Amanda and I, with elevation marketing, the way we've taken this imposter syndrome, we actually turned it into a superpower and made it a company-wide initiative. We're like this healthy skepticism and doubt and has led us to constantly want to learn more, educate ourselves, listen to the market, like put our feet to the ground, like not just in like the home services space, but other spaces. So we dove in and we developed this company-wide initiative called a tactics. It's fantastic. It takes like competitive analysis to like, I don't know, the next level. It's awesome. Our whole team's involved. And basically, I mean, what a tactics is taking competitive research, but making it long term. There are our competitor strategies, their positioning, how did they get there? How long have they been there? What factors go into it? And if we then applying some of those things to our clients, seeing if it works, just a lot of experimenting and testing. And I don't know, I'm getting all like
Yeah.
long-winded, but it's like, how do we explain this like awesome thing that we've done that our clients are benefiting from in a measured, like succinct way? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think most business owners can relate in the sense that you and I have always liked to do that, go out and kind of survey what's going on. I'm sure for people listening, if you ever get your hands on a competitor's proposal, you're going to gobble that up just to kind of see what else is out there. And fortunately for us, a lot of the information that is out there on what our other agencies are doing and other competitors are doing is actually on the web, because we're a digital agency. We're focused on that, so we can go out and and really look under the hood at a lot of the stuff they're up to is out there in the world for us to all see. So that is great. But for Devin and I, we've always, like, when we have time as the leaders, we'll dig in and start learning and kind of share it with the agency. But what I love about the way we're going about a tactics is, like you said, Devin, that it's a long-term play. We're not just like, oh, I'm going to take some time to do some competitive analysis next Wednesday. It's like we're building on it and continuing to learn on it. And we're asking other people in the agency to wear the hat too. So if they're focused on content marketing, or they really are dialed in on local SEO, what are they seeing as well? So we're really empowering them to also set time aside to go do this, so that it's not just Devin or I, because we're not going to uncover everything. And we have so many smart people on our team. We want everyone doing it. And I think it empowers all of us and makes us feel smarter and better at what we do when we have a pulse on what's going on out there in the marketplace, and we're not just head down on our work all the time.
Totally. And it gives us and our team like affirmation, like, all right, we're when following like the best practices, actually you're ahead of half the competition, because a lot of them are not following best practices, but we just assume they are because they're kind of the star student for some of our competitors. And that's in the home services space, but even like our star students for other agency friends, when we look at like professional services and accounting, even e-commerce, just looking, because always staying curious about what's happening in other verticals, seeing if it applies to our vertical specifically is really interesting. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like refreshing that, no matter how much technology changes, like some things remain true, like doing the basics well is like a great foundation. So we're going to dive into that a bit more, but yeah, what in a nutshell, like competitive research, which, maybe every agency does, it tells you like where the battlefield is, but a tactics, elevation marketing specific, one and only, super top secret initiative, a tactics, it tells you exactly which battles to fight, in what order, and what to do next to win them. So we've taken those criteria and kind of done a little deep dive into like paid media best practices, SEO best practices, and things that we uncovered during some of tactics the past quarter. So we wanted to share some of our findings with you.
So I think we talked about like where to even start with this, but the thing that stuck out to us, because we were both digging in on our own ways, SEO for Devin, paid media for me, was reviews, because reviews flows into every bucket. It impacts local SEO, organic SEO, um, GLSA positioning, and arguably even probably Google Ads as well, because you can do those location extensions and connect all
Yeah,
of
high
your Google
visibility. Yeah.
products. Yeah, so it goes on and on and on. So one of the things that sticks out to us as well is that, we know there are certain agencies that will maybe only take you on if you meet like very specific criteria,
Mhm.
and they're making it a winnable game for themselves. So there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But one of the things that really sticks out, any of those kind of rules we've seen from any agency that it has those parameters that they're publishing, is you having a really strong review system, so that you're consistently gaining reviews. And I mean, it's obvious. We all know that we need them, but it's becoming more and more obvious all the time. And especially with all the changes in SEO, Devin, like about entities and stuff, like Google wants us to prove that we are who we say we are, that we are real people, that we're out there doing the work, and reviews is like the easiest place for them to make sure that that's in fact happening.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
especially, not to go like too off topic, but I love to do that. So as buyer behavior has shifted, reviews have become more and more critical. And they used to be focused on by businesses because we're like, oh, if you want to rank in the local 3-pack, you have to have reviews and you have to get them consistently. And if you get images with them, even better, right? But it's even more critical, I think, for the conversion part of the process now, because local 3-pack ranking, yes, we love that. It's transactional, it's bottom of the funnel. But the way even us as consumers, right? You might start on Chat GPT, ask some questions, and then your favorite AI bot, it spits out the top 3 local landscapers. And then you're like, oh, do I believe this? You're gonna then go over to Google, you're gonna search for that brand name. And then do they appear? Hopefully they do. And then they're going to look at your reviews and scroll through and read those. So reviews, I mean, going off on the review tangent a little bit and why they matter, but to Amanda's point, reviews was one of the first things that we were like really analyzing in a tactics because it does touch visibility in paid and in organic and in AI. And what we found, you guys, like agencies are not the secret sauce. Like almost the secret sauce is consistent reviews is what we found, because we'll dive into it more, but the worst like paid media tactics, the worst like antiquated SEO tactics, when those check marks, were not being met, the basics, what was holding true for these people that we analyzed, these companies we analyzed, they were getting consistent reviews and they were still they were still in the local 3-pack. They still were getting called out for being a top, contractor in different AI searches. Like how crazy
How
is that?
crazy. Yeah. Like we could talk ourselves out of a job a little bit here, but it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy because it's a drum we bang all the time, and agents and company owners are, it's like, we know, we got to do it. We got to do it. But this just really confirmed what we thought. I mean, we were finding, and one of the ways we identified some of the companies we were going to look at was looking at some of our competitors' star students, the ones that they're loud and proud that they're doing their entire digital program. So we're like, okay, this is a great playbook. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
And we found in some cases that, like you said, we're not meeting the best practices that we know Google's, even from the leak, we know what Google's looking at, but they had like, I'm talking 1,500 plus reviews. It
Mm.
like leveled the playing field for them. Like,
Yeah, I mean, content that hadn't been touched in like, 9 months, 12 months, when in the different kind of competitors we looked at. Yeah, because blogging weekly or, is great. Monthly, if you can do it, if it's a really long, meaty piece, is fantastic. But some of those like best practices weren't even being met. And the strongest, the stronghold was coming from the reviews. The reviews were the thing that was moving the needle. It wasn't like anything happening on the back end of the website. It wasn't, the super technical side of SEO, those things. What was driving the positioning and the visibility in both AI and on Google was reviews.
yeah. And the thing too that, like, I feel like a lot of people listening and even some of our clients would be like, 1,500 reviews, I couldn't get that. But one of the other things we did in this was go in and just analyze the reviews that we found profiles from all over the country, loaded all of their reviews into ChatGPT and analyzed it and said, what are these people doing? And in a lot of cases, they're asking for reviews when they're out doing community outreach. They're asking for reviews when they complete an inspection and give someone good news that they don't need them. Somewhat there, you can tell by the reviews that even if somebody calls in and gets a good customer service experience, maybe the person who answered the phone was able to tell them about a supplier that could meet their need and they don't even need the company, but when before they let them go, they're asking for that review, and it's working. It's not like, I know it feels like you're probably just like lecturing your sales team and your project managers all the time about getting the reviews, but not only should you be lecturing them, you should be lecturing every person in your company that has a touch point with a potential client or customer, or manages your Toys for Tots toy drive. Those are the people, like, if you're all doing it, that's how you're going to get to that 1,000 plus reviews. And you might not even need an agency at that point.
You know.
At least for now. Google's always shuffling the deck, but no matter what, those reviews are always going to lift all of your other marketing efforts.
Yeah. And when they did have that many reviews, there were some, it's not to say none of the other best practices were being met, but I would say some of the top 5 weren't being met, but having a good website, like the site structure was good, but even some of them had older websites. So, don't feel like you're being left in the dust if you've got an older website, but it was just really interesting. The thing that so reviews was huge, but it wasn't to say that, their websites did not have any of the best practices in place. So that wasn't the case, but it was by far and away across multiple verticals, multiple, I guess, checkpoints that we analyzed. Like reviews were consistently one of the key determining factors in that organic and AI visibility. We have some long-term experiments and testing we're doing on this. So, give us time and we'll share those when we have those, probably Q1 next year. So reviews, we just had to hit I like how you said that, Amanda, bang that drum. And that kind of bleeds into like the SEO side of things and some of the like the best practices we were looking at from the star students across a whole bunch of verticals, all across the US, not just roofing. I know we talk about roofing a lot on here, but like I said, and diving into professional services and looking at e-commerce, but also looking at our friends that we know and love in the home services space for contractors, landscapers, roofers, plumbers, electricians. Like we were like, what is working where and why and all that good stuff. So from that, we found one thing, and we've kind of touched on this already, like solid SEO. I mean, the very basics, like not advanced, schema markup and some of the fun technical things we do in really competitive markets, but the very basics, like just saying, your business and the area you do it in at the top of your website. I mean, some of those basics, like that's still like what mattered. And anybody who had good visibility, it was that the SEO, I would say Google understood who they are, what they do, and where they do it immediately. And that doesn't always have to do with everything that's on your website. It was from things that were happening off of your website as well. It was a consistent, strong brand on page and off page. So it, it's good SEO if Google and AI can understand who you are, what you do, and where you do it. But the people that had like the best visibility had really strong brands, and it wasn't all SEO, and it wasn't all, spending the most money on their paid media to get
Mhm.
that
Well, yeah.
visibility.
Yeah. And one of the things I love that this is a constant through line in all the conversations we have. Every time Google has a new update, everyone freaks out and goes and looks at it. And it always comes back to if you're doing it right, you're doing it consistent, you have a good brand, you're publishing compelling content that has a positive impact on the user who hits your website, Google rewards it. So the nice thing is they're never pulling the rug out from underneath us and suddenly making us veer completely right. It's more they just are continuing to find ways to reward the people that are doing it right.
Yeah, like no, it's not the folks that paid and have, 50,000 backlinks, like, old-timey
Yeah.
SEO. It's not those. It really is. It's the brands that Google understands. They understand who you are, what you do, where you do it. There's no confusion over like having an LLC or no LLC on the brand name. It's the same website, not multiple websites under the same brand name pointing to different places. We saw that in some cases where people didn't even know they had like another old website live out there that um was diluting their trust and authority from Google because there's the same brand with two different websites. So there was the people that had the best visibility, there was no confusion about who the brand was. Like their name was the same everywhere. If you Googled them, you didn't have variations of the company name. Their social media profiles were fresh. They had claimed social media profiles. They weren't going viral. They didn't all have an average of like 4,000 followers. And we looked at measurable, areas, how many likes, how many follows, how many times are they posting weekly? Are they images? Are they videos? Are they carousels? Like we did a deep dive on all of these competitors and all these different companies to try to see if we could come up with like this winning formula for why they ranked for 2,000 keywords or whatever the amount of keywords. And we really did math, you guys. We used spreadsheets. We used AI to help us analyze this stuff. We have all this
We
data.
use VLOOKUPs. We
VLOOKUPs.
did it all.
I can't even say concatenate. Like, that's some crazy stuff there. So we look at these like measurable insights, right? We looked at these things that you can analyze across many companies to see what they all had in common. And then we had to bucket them by is this branding, is this expertise, is this authority, is this experience, and trying to figure out who had like a stronghold in maybe one of those buckets over the other. And the thread that we could weave throughout every single one of them was just it was clear, concise, easy to understand branding. There was no confusion about the company, who they are, what they do, or where they do it. That was the stronghold on the organic front, which points forward
Mhm.
at everything I've been talking about this year with what I call like entity SEO, or I feel like I made that up. I don't know if I hear it anywhere else, but just AI and Google understanding your brand and as the bots understand it, an entity. So
Mhm.
that's what I saw on the SEO side of life. We have, like I mentioned, some long-term experiments running and things that we're monitoring and checking on. So, Q1 will have some more exciting insights on what we found with these long-term studies. But I love that our agency is like diving in and doing these experiments and long-term kind of monitoring and
Tactics.
yeah,
Yeah.
tactics. I feel like you need like a hand motion that goes with it. And then
Yeah.
you like nerded out, and it was fun because I was traveling, so I got to like send you some real time, like here's the landing page I see in Maine. Here's the landing page we see in this place and that place. And you got
Yeah.
and on the paid media tactics, and you found some really cool stuff. And your spreadsheet was insane. Okay, anyway, that like talk about it because
Yeah.
it was
I know.
I like have to give you your flowers on this because it was like insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun and, just like we said, just uncovering and trying to find the key differentiators. And because our team's all over the country, there's tools that'll tell you who's advertising where, but I wanted the real, like you're sitting in Maine, someone's sitting in St. Paul, wherever you're sitting, Google these services and send me I want the whole ugly long URL parameter, and I'm going to go look at these landing pages. And then, send me screenshots of the ad copy too. I want to know what people are saying. I want to like, anyway. So it was a really fun activity. I started with Google Ads. I moved into LSA too. So I'll chat about all of that. But some of the stuff that really stuck out to me, things we've talked about on here, but I was shocked at how many home service companies I was seeing across the nation that are spending upwards of $50 a click and they're driving to their homepage. I am not, I think only 27% of the ads that we analyzed drove to a landing
And
page.
were they and t remind me, was it just like were they like service plus location based queries that we were doing? I can't remember. Or was it like because if it's a brand play, you can see driving to the homepage, but
Yeah.
it was
It
like
was like siding contractor near me, best roofing contractor Denver. I mean, I was giving people the URLs, the searches I wanted them to make. So I'm talking, I am like $50 is being very conservative per click. And I just think about how, like, as an agency, when we run ads, like we only report on conversions where I can give you a name. So like knowing that if I was running ads to just like for siding contractor near me to just our client's homepage, I guarantee you the number of contacts I would drive that I could align a name with that lead would be cut in half.
yeah, can we just pause on that thought for a minute here? Let me just, I really need to reinforce what you just said about what elevation marketing does differently with paid media and lead reporting. We give you a name and a phone number and an email address of that lead. Maybe Go High Level does that for you now, but if you don't have that integration, and also, like, it could be imperfect depending on your setup, depending on lead status and how it's being tracked. Elevation marketing gives you a name, a phone number, and an email address if it was provided, depending on the ad form, for every lead we are reporting as a
Reporting.
conversion, not just everyone who filled out or no, those are form fills. We have some clients,
Mhm.
they will only accept it as a lead if that person converted. So that's
It's booked. Yeah.
yeah, talk about
But
holding our feet to the fire. But I just need to call that out because there are so many vanity like time on site conversions. No, we don't know. Our conversions
no,
are true actual name, address, or name, phone number, name, email,
contact, an actual
contact,
contact.
an actual sorry.
Exactly.
Okay. Sorry. So anyway, so
Yes.
back to
But with landing pages, you're going to get way less of those name, address, phone number. And to kind of add to your point, Devin, in the back end of Google Ads, if you were to just take the numbers that Google reports, there's imperfection with the way the tags fire and stuff. So typically, even if we didn't give name, if we weren't giving you the names and email addresses associated, you would probably at least think your cost per contact was 20% higher than it is because there's always, and we delete some out that
but
just looks like total spam. So
can
know that already, that it's already going to be a little inflated. But oh my gosh, if
can
you're
you
just trying,
just say
go ahead.
what a cost per contact is?
So it would be your total investment divided by how many legit contacts you got out of your investment for the month.
Sorry,
So
so your
if
ad spend.
your ad spend, exactly. So how much you spent on Google divided by how many actual contacts you got. That's your cost per contact. And if you just look at Google's, a lot of times it'll look a little healthier than it actually is, because of some of the
Uh,
imperfections and spam leads that we delete out. But then also, like what I find, if I would just never spend my clients' money on driving to a homepage because that's how I measure myself, is that cost per contact. And I know that it would be so much less if I drive to a homepage. And even if
well,
you have the best homepage in the world, people, if they have to go search out and decide how they're going to get in contact with you, and so the point of a landing page is there's no navigation, there's one action we're trying to get them to take, and we're supporting it with a bunch of compelling content that moves them down the funnel, reviews, why they should trust you, all the things. That is what a landing page is intended to do. You drive them to your homepage, they could get lost in a blog, find a few things interesting, and then just move on with their journey while they go look at your competitor and then do the same thing with them. That is why if you're paying $50+ a click, you need to get them to a landing page where they can't get lost, and you're dramatically increasing the likelihood they're going to take an action. Sorry, what were you going to say, Devin?
I was just, I just, because there is a reason to drive people to the homepage when you are running a brand play, when you need to get traffic through to your website, and those clicks are not $50 a click. Well,
No,
if you're
they're not.
sometimes
Unless
they
you have
are,
a name that's like, unless your name's like a local roofer,
yeah.
you're going to be able to, and I know I'm roofing, but like
So
local
yeah,
contractor,
I
whatever it
just
would be, that's going to cost you a lot of money. But if you have a unique name, you're going to pay a few dollars a click to get people to your website for your brand. And that's fine. That is fine. But if you are trying to go after service plus location or service based keywords, because you intend to drive leads from people that are probably brand agnostic and haven't decided who they're going to work with yet, you need to use landing pages because you're spending a lot of money, and it's just a waste otherwise. And I can't tell you how many of these people I looked at that I was like, oh my gosh, you are just driving to your homepage. I want to call a business owner and tell them to stop doing that. But it was affirmation that we're doing it right over here, and we're certainly not behind the ball when it comes to our landing page strategies. So I do kind of I have a few other things I want to move through because I could just again bang this drum forever about landing pages. But that was one thing that stuck out. One of the examples was driving to a blog index page, which means the page of your website that just shows all of the blogs that you have
is
produced.
there any
Uh,
world that would, like, we talked about, is there any world where, like, what
I
could possibly be the reason? Like, if someone's so smart and has something figured out, like, we tried to figure out why someone would do this. We really came at this from every angle. Like, we really tried to say, gosh, they must know something. We just
no.
get there.
I think it's just an intern running someone's Google ads. They just picked the URL and threw it in there. So that one was shocking. If you're not using landing pages now, please talk to your agency about it. Get in touch with us. I'll talk to you about it. You need it. Another thing was just ad copy that's the same crap that we've all seen for years that you just glaze over and keep moving past. It's not speaking to the pain points of the customer. It's not speaking to maybe the emotion behind why you maybe are embarrassed by the siding falling off your house. It's not speaking to any of that. Like maybe your house is the eyesore on the block. Instead, it's like best contractor, we're the best, us. And it's like, it does not resonate. And if you're trying to stick out among all of the search results now, like there's so much going on, your ad better be like hard hitting and compelling, or people are going to just keep scrolling and they're going to click on the next thing.
Mm.
So that was another one that stuck out to me that I'm like, okay, another one that we're like way above the mark on, but
Squeaky
I was
clean.
shocked that yeah, squeaky clean, but I was shocked that I'm like, I feel like this is a big miss that a lot of people are missing.
Mm.
Another one that I was loving, UTM parameters. So those tracking codes that go on the end of the URLs, I had everybody just send me the whole URL so I could see like what they're putting in their tracking parameters that clearly matter to them, like the name of the campaign, sometimes the location, like what it is they're keeping track of on the back end of Google Analytics to separate out their different campaigns and figure out what's working. So that was a fun one that's a lot more technical, but I loved being able to kind of peek behind the hood on that one. And then after that, I really dove in as well and was looking at GLSA, which I know it's kind of the gold standard right now, especially in home service. For most services anymore, it's getting the top spot above traditional Google ads, above the 3-pack. They're giving at least 2 LSA ads at the very top. For those of you that aren't familiar, Google local service ads are, if you just go Google a service term in your area, you're going to see those ads at the very top. They don't drive to a landing page. You have the option to either look at their Google business profile. Sorry, I'm like pointing like I'm looking at a search result. You can click to call them or you can click to message them. And that's like a much more simplistic ad platform, but it's actually good for I mean, you don't have to have managed Google ads for 10 years to be able to do it efficiently. So in a lot of ways, it is good for business owners. But the cool thing with it is it's directly tied to Google business profile. So a lot of the tactics Devin was looking at, I was looking at too. From the local stuff she was looking at, I was looking at it. And Josefina and I are continuing to dive in. We're going to report. We're going to kind of reveal our findings to the team in a couple weeks on one of our next calls. So we're going to nerd out on it more, and I can't wait. But we had a call just yesterday where we were both just like talking about the different things we were seeing. But again, back to review counts, that really impacts your visibility in LSA. But it's also public to look, and you can tell what categories they're advertising on, what locations they say they advertise to, what categories are underneath. Like, you could be an exterior contractor, but you can pick that you only do like siding full replacements, or you could do repairs and decks and all kinds of stuff. It's all right there. If you expand their profile, you can see everything. So we were just nerding out on like looking at these advertisements across the entire country and then being like, what's the congruency? Why are some of these people that only have 26 reviews in second position under somebody that has 900? So there weren't like just smoking guns, but there were all kinds of things that we were finding in there that was really cool to kind of dig in on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, to wrap up this episode, I think number one, like everything that you found in there, we're gonna kind of reveal and roll out probably in future episodes on a tactics findings, and we'll kind of bucket them and silo them out so it's not too overwhelming. But how tactics is going to benefit you and the listener, the listener, not and the listener, you are the listener. It impacts you because we're going to tell you the best practices. We're going to tell you what works, what moves the needle, so you don't have to guess and you don't have to keep paying for services that maybe don't work, and you can invest in the right ones. And so that's the benefit to you, and the benefit of working with Elevation is that we can test this for you and we see things moving the needle quickly in a matter of a week or two. We slowly are like testing and measuring and doing that on our clients. So everyone wins. So you're not just throwing money on what you think is working or not working, or what you think is working, and without any kind of guidance. So you don't fall for some of the really good glitz and glam marketing that's out there for specific services, like, I don't know, SEO, paid media. It's some people do it well and some people don't. So we'll keep you apprised of the latest and greatest. I tried to like make it succinct talking about the benefits to you guys, but I didn't do it. I tried.
You got there. You definitely got there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you know anyone that you think might benefit from listening to this, please share it. Let us know if we missed anything, or if there's something you'd like us to look into in the comments. But we're gonna keep our heads down and keep coming back to you guys with some really interesting insights.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
That was today's trade secret. Thanks for listening.
Did you find this helpful? We're just getting started.
Subscribe and don't miss our next reveal.
Until next time.